Ladies and gentlemen, today I am warmed at heart and delighted to address all of you in moments away from launching the Medium-Term Development Plan 4. I want to thank, it will be remiss of me not to thank my own Chief Secretary, the head of our public service, who also worked behind the scene, not just preparing this speech of mine, but more importantly, being an important mentor, shepherding the process in which we arrived here. We came into government in 2019. We chose not to reinvent the wheel, but to flow on from what was already in motion, the Medium-Term Development Plan 3. We looked into MTDP 3. We knew there were good sides to it. In fact, the intentions were very well. So we chose not to change, except bringing into the table the Pangu-led coalition government's aspirations and view, especially in our thought to ramp up our efforts to leave no one behind, no place behind, embrace everyone in the cause of bringing them to development. We knew that we were falling behind in some of the key indicators, especially our health, our education, our law and order, the weak economy we were taking in where debt was unsustainable. But despite all these weaknesses that were presented, we stood to our resolve to follow the path that MTDP 3 outlaid. The reason was simple. We've had many plans in our country. Every government has its own views. Every government going out takes away what they were living and working with and on, and the new government comes in and tries to do its own thing. Reinventing of the wheel was not something we chose to embark upon in 2019 when we arrived. Rather, we picked up MTDP 3 and we tried to our very best to work with it. COVID-19 did hit us in 2020. The Ukraine war arrived in 2021. The last 4 years were never easy 4 years, but we stick to the roadmap that MTDP 3 pointed. Today, as we arrive in 2023, in the cusp of launching the MTDP 4, we had a retrospective look on how we have come, not just through the Vision 2050 focus time space, but more importantly, the 3 MTDPs that took us, which, I beg your pardon, MTDP 1, MTDP 2, and MTDP 3. All this were taken into consideration as the planning minister and his team went into promulgating what is now, in my view, my considered view, one of the best organic working planned document all of us will be privy of in a very short while. We returned after the elections, after the 2022 National General Elections. And I want to appreciate all coalition partners who are here today. You rallied behind Pangu Party and respected the mandate that our people gave us at the elections. We went to the elections on 5 simple premises. We must better and grow our economy. We must better our infrastructure. We must better our education sector. We must better our health sector, ensuring quality medicinal and health services available to our people. We must also better our law and order for our people to enjoy and live inside, including our residents who have been part of us since our flag was first hosted in September 16, 1975. And so our focus has always been to better Papua New Guinea, to do better for Papua New Guinea on all fronts, so that the end result we pass on to the generation that comes after us, better Papua New Guinea. Many of you know my many lines I use all the time. The country you and me retire into is the country we either help build up or we have not helped build up. What is the country you envisage to retire into? Especially those of you who will be buried in this land, like I will be. Some will not be buried here, but they're here as missionaries, as volunteers, as contributors to our cause. But really the call is on us, Papua New Guineans, you and me, in all spheres and all sectors. And more so, the call really is on us in the public service, whether you're elected into office or you are appointed into office on merit. The call is for us to rise up and work. MTDP 4 captures the direction set by our collective aspirations, run by government under myself and the Honorable John Rossa. Its full implementation and resourcing will have a direct push and will move our country one, if not many, many steps better with tangible results as envisaged in the MTDP 4. The MTDP 4 is not made in isolation. Rather, it has its roots anchored firmly in the national goals and directive principles of our national constitution. Those were set even before you and me came into these offices we hold today. Only St. Julius Stein, and God bless him wherever he is, remains very much alive today, from the class of 1975. And I looked down and see Sayama Pala from the class of 1975 here, and God bless those seniors amongst us who were foundational players in where our country is today, a robust democracy, 47 going 48 years on. They set a world-class democratic constitution that is the envy of many, many countries around the world. Something that we cannot take for granted, but it's incumbent on us to rally around the spirit and the word and the value of our constitution, and therein the national goals and directive principles. I want to give you all some backgrounds in case we take today for granted. In 1975, we were a small economy. In fact, the economic database, PNG economic database, says our economy was only 4.7 billion kina, not dollar, 4.7 billion kina. You make your matching dollar number. So 4.7 million kina, that was 4.7 billion kina rather, that was the size of our economy. Our population was about 3 million. Our land size, guess what? Land size, very, very big, rugged, rough terrains, swamplands, isolated island, all in all, bigger than UK, bigger than Japan, bigger than New Zealand, to contextualize if you do not realize this. Our land was big. The total size of our land, you know what's the total size of our land? 462,840 square kilometers. Much bigger than the nations that I pointed to so that you could have a reference point. In 1975, the economy was big. The cost of service delivery was much lower. We came from a very, very rugged place. And I just want us, in this moment, not to talk down and think down on our country, but embrace the fact that in the most diverse nation on the face of planet Earth, we have held together as a robust democracy, despite many times tested to the core, but we have maintained one people, one nation, one country. You cannot compare us to Great Britain. They speak one language, a civilization over thousands of years. You cannot compare us against Germany, one language, a civilization over thousands of years. Japan, a civilization over 1,000 years. We were stitched together by one constitutional drafting, a nation of 1,000 tribes, many languages, many people, isolated islands, far remote from each other. In 1975, our road connectivity was only to 10% of our country. Our economy was small. Against this backdrop and an ever-active population of 3% a year, production of humankind into our country, we have come thus far, 48 years on. Brothers and sisters, compatriot, it is not late. We have done very well, I just want to put to you, despite all the human development indicators. To hold back as a nation of democratic values and ideals, you just have to look at nations similar to ours that have emerged as nations around that era. Many have fallen victim to the hands of gun-toting defense force commanders, and many others, but we have remained vigilant. And I just want to appreciate the fact and step back and say thank you to the fathers of our country, led by none other than Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Marape, who stitched together a world-class constitution and able to set a nation into motion, of which today you and me sit in the ambience of electricity, educated, well-informed, with enough data, and maybe sometimes cruising through life as if it is business as usual with many of our complacencies. You know, the statistics even looks more stunning. I want to advance from 1975 to 2002. That period, 27 years of our nation's life, we grew our economy by only 12 billion. Let's just ask Central Bank Governor. She will tell you that. From a 4.7 billion kina GDP size, we arrived into 2022, so we arrived into 2022 government, taking over a 17 billion kina economy. Just 12 billion we expected. I think 2002 to 2007. 2007 to 2011, they did some important fundamental inputs to make our country regrow to a positive trajectory we are now placed at for us to have this conversation. Why don't you all join me? It would be unfair of us not to thank the great man, great Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Marape. The 2002 to 2011 government set into motion what we now have as modern Papua New Guinea. Let's clap our hands together. The export-driven strategy that they started and some of the work they put into place in the first term they were in office from 2002 to 2007. You know, at that time, some of our international partners ran away from us. Needless to name them, but few stick around. And those few stick around are present with us today. I just want to step back and thank, at this juncture, Australia government. I want to thank Japan government, Korea government, New Zealand government, and all who maintain the embassies here. I want to also thank ADB. To ADB, if you are here today, well done ADB, you had faith in us. Thank you very much. Sepu Katemu, who is here today, had a strong input under Grand Chief Somara's watch, the Vision 2050. Vision 2050 was mounted in 2010. Today, in 2023, we are into a second decade of the Vision 2050 focus of our country to be a middle-income earning nation by 2050. When that was launched, the MTDP 1 was also launched in 2011. We lived through MTDP 1, we are living through the bridging MTDP 2 that was not fully developed. It was just a 2-year MTDP. We went straight into the 2018 MTDP 3. And today I am privileged. It is totally a high honor for me to be standing here, to be able to be given this opportunity on behalf of every one of us to now stand and ready to present MTDP 4. That states, and mind you, the last 20 years we've had the biggest growth in our country. GDP grew by, per capita grew by 16%, real GDP by 50%. Exports grew by 162% at the back of PNG LNG project, again, another National Alliance-led government's project. But one interesting fact, as an indicator, is that real employment grew just by 2%. 2%. That summarizes the other side. Whilst we've come very well, but real matters relating to everyday people, people employment, people well-being, directly people-based production has been limited or very few in between. And so the call on us to really rise up and work wherever we are all placed in to ensure that we relate to the Vision 2050 to make it happen. We relate to the MTDP 4 to make it happen as we sail through this. And I want to point, the MTDP 4 comes at a very interesting juncture of our nation's life. It comes at a time when we will be traveling out, or traveling into and out of our 50th anniversary as a nation. What we make of this will either shape the direction we continue on, or we will still be lagging behind as a nation that is lackluster in as far as its achievements are concerned. My statement on the richest black Christian nation when I became Prime Minister in 2019, 30th of May, is not out of sync. Rather, it is very much consistent with the focus of Vision 2050. The Vision 2050 says it is in this decade that we will now make the economic leap. It is in this decade that economic conversation will be engaged, and it must be in this decade that we become economically independent. I want to point to 4 aspects of our Vision MTDP 4 rather. Consistent with that focus of Vision 2050, building on the 3 earlier MTDPs and MTDP 4 today, is appropriately entitled as National Prosperity through Growing the Economy. You heard me say the other day, and I was quoted very well by National, I don't know for what context, but I quoted, "Cobbler is king." You know why I said this? Roads will not be built, education will not be constructed or delivered to our people, hospitals will not be built if you do not have money. I want to say that this plan envisages in a big way growing the economy as foundational and fundamental, and everything else comes at the back of this one. And so it focuses on, number 1, policy and legislative reforms that we have started, will carry on. We will be outsourcing monitoring and evaluation so that spending and focus is benchmarked by people outside at arm's length from government. And we will be broadening our economic base and increasing our revenue. And we will add value to our strategic assets we have here. Our intention to build our 200 billion Kenya economy in this decade must be reached, and in the process, creating 1 million job opportunity from all our Papua New Guinean youths and citizens out there, and in the process of improving the quality of life of all our citizens. The planning minister has highlighted key areas, but I just want to quickly go through. This plan has 12 focus areas. Just remember the 12 disciples, 12 focus areas. Strategic economic investment, number 1. Connect PNG infrastructure, number 2. Quality and affordable healthcare, number 3. Quality education and skilled human capital, number 4. Rule of law and justice, number 5. National security, number 6. National revenue and public finance management, number 7. Digital government, number 8. Digital government, national statistics and public service governance, number 8. Research, science and technology, number 9. Climate change and environmental protection, number 10. Population, youth and women development, number 11. And strategic partnership. And I just want to appreciate all our strategic partners who are here today. Again, Australia, China, India, Japan, USA, Philippines, Indonesia, South Korea, France, European Union, UK, New Zealand, our own kind in Fiji and the Pacific Islands, Thank you very much for remaining put with us. We look forward for our continued partnership so that the key 12 focus areas and the 71 deliverables are achieved as we work together. And I call upon all of us here, especially department heads and all stakeholders in the public service, realign your work plan, realign your corporate plans, so that we are all working on one page, one book, and to ensure we reach the outcome as envisaged in this one. I want to also indicate to all of you, in a very short while we will be setting up the National Monitoring Authority to ensure that the National Monitoring Authority at arm's length, checking to make sure we are delivering to expected outcomes as envisioned and captured in the medium-term development plan 4. Each of you are required to ensure you realign your work plan so that resourcing for next year's budget and the 3 more budgets that will come after 2024 is funded in total alignment to the plans as envisaged in this MTDP 4. I want to now appreciate our provincial governments, our district development authorities, and our LNGs. Provincial government, you're a very important player in this one. You are a sub-national government department. Your role will be amplified and augmented and supported. As I gave my commitment to you, provincial government's role under this Pangu administration will not be diluted, for it was Pangu at 1974 that set up the provincial government system, and this Pangu government will ensure you are empowered to do services and functions at your level, meaning to deliver better to our people throughout the length and breadth of our country. 21 provinces will be empowered like never before. 96 districts will be empowered like never before. And of course, our special region of Bougainville, the autonomous government, will be empowered together, sticking to one national vision in Vision 2050 and the next 4 years or 5 years, MTDP 4, hopefully by the time we stand on this podium, as we launch MTDP 5, we have made a substantial pendulum progress in the positive in as far as our human development indicators are concerned, so that our development partners are too proud and also proud of having contributed with us in making our country better. And I want to encourage each and every one of you, join and pick up this plan and make it part of yours. It is an organic plan. I want to comment again in conclusion. The planning department led by our planning minister, he has stepped up to the occasion leading his team to deliver to us a planning book that is organic, that districts can relate to, province can relate to, national government departments can relate to, state-owned enterprises can relate to, our development partners can relate to, and together each and every one of us can contribute and find our place and role in this living organic document to make it better for our country. Our country is the most diverse nation on planet Earth. 96 districts, 21 provinces, special region of Bougainville, and Papua New Guinea. We don't want to leave anyone behind. We don't want to leave any place behind. We want collectively, all of us, to progress so that our shared future and our common destination is something that we all enjoy as envisioned by the fathers of our country. None more greater than Marape when we gifted the Vision 2050 at Sir John Guy Stadium in that moment in 2010. I want all of you to relate to this plan. Don't walk out of this room feeling that, oh, you just attended another Prime Minister Marape's talk and that's it. For if you walk out of this plan without relating to this document, you have wasted God's time, your time, and country's time. Do you know who will give you this bread of life to be alive today? In these respective offices that we hold today. It is the creator of the universe, the creator of this planet Earth, and the creator and owner of Papua New Guinea, who gifted us this life. Make it work. Make it work. Make it worth it as you and me occupy this time slot in our nation's history. The 4 years that is coming upon us is very important. I'm not asking Papua New Guinea to go to moon in the next 4 years. I'm not asking Papua New Guinea to go to moon in the next 4 years. When John F. Kennedy made his statement in Rice University on the 12th of September 1962, when he said America must put man to moon in this decade, the Republican side of the Congress thought he was crazy and they rubbished him down. You know, his rationale was simple. It is not because the task is easy, but because the task is the hardest. That USA will rally the consciousness of every USA citizen right across the length and breadth of USA to put man to moon in 10 years. In that space, USA will go beyond every other nation in the area of science, research, technology. Wow. He died one year later. The youngest ever US president elected into office died 1 year later. Guess what? The harshest critic, then a senior Republican leader in President Nixon, July 20, 1969, witnessed himself eating his words to same, Neil Armstrong, walking on moon for the first time. My compatriots, Papua New Guineans by birth and by citizenship, especially those of us who hold elected office and appointed office, we belong to the privileged few who have the future of our country in our hands. I'm not asking us to go to the moon in 10 years. My richest Black Christian Nation statement is not asking us to go to the moon in 10 years. Somalia's Vision 2050 is not asking us to go to the moon in 10 years. It's all about all of us working. Finding your place in this plan. Because this plan is not isolated. It is working in sync with our national constitution, working in sync with our Vision 2050. Together, if you and me contribute, we will then ensure that in 2050, we are living in a middle income earning nation. I want to wish each and every one of you all the very best. And I want to ask all of you, as we pick up this plan, consume it. It must be part of you. Translate it into work plan at your districts, in your provinces, and in your departments that we all operate. And if there is something that is a little bit out of place, this is not a 10 commandment, for goodness sake. Only 10 commandments we don't change. This is adjustable, workable, changeable, so long as it is in the interest of our country and not in your own interest. I just want to rally all of us. In conclusion, country blow you, you go one and a half can. You finish a little walk, but you stop outside the place. Is it a better country you're retiring into when your time is up, or a country you'll be destroyed? I want to ask all of us, let's build a better country in the process. Take this plan and make this plan your very own, because you were consulted also in the process. May God bless Papua New Guinea. May God bless each and every one of us. May God bless especially those who have supported Papua New Guinea along the way the last 47, 48 years. Thank you very much. I look forward to continue on working with each and every one of you to ensure we deliver a safer, better Papua New Guinea for our children. God bless.